Patriot Smoothie here, day 9 of the trial for Tamara, Lich, and Barber. We are on an extended lunch break until 2:30 while the defense prepares some material that they need for the cross-examination of Sûreté de Québec SQ Captain Martin. His name is Etienne Martel, M-A-R-T-E-L. That was difficult to get in the courtroom. There's so much information and people coming in. Again, this morning, what did we do? We watched more videos, we made some arguments. They didn't really quite land. They didn't land. I mean, maybe they did. Maybe they did. I'm just unwinding from all that information. Huge information dumps. Basically, Captain Martel of the SQ was responsible for Green Squad, the guys with the green epaulets from the Sûreté de Québec, wearing the olive color utility jackets, uniforms that they were wearing with the riot during the police action on February 18th and 19th. Then there was other SQ squads. There was purple, gray, and another color that I don't think they ever translated into English because he's testifying in French, and as he's testifying, a translator is translating his what he's saying. And actually, interesting point there, we have two translators, all sworn under oath, and one of the translators seems to be making some frequent mistakes in the translation, and Magus and even Greenspoon have jumped up at different points to correct the translation. The Crown at one point, after several of these corrections, switching out the second interpreter for the first, and it seems they also switch every set amounts of time, maybe every 30 minutes or something. They've switched several times, but specifically after that point, the Crown arguing that actually the defense would be able to bring up those translation issues on when they're doing their cross-examination, I guess, but that didn't fly. The judge saying that no, this needs to be corrected as it happens, and so that's, I guess, what we're going to continue to see. Greenspoon and Magus both fluently, very fluent in French and able to add those corrections, which might not seem significant at the time, but are significant when, for example, Captain Martel was describing the pressure that they were feeling. He said that they were feeling more pressure, whereas it was translated as higher pressure, and they wanted it to be more pressure. And also, again, as always, his testimony being restricted to the things he directly observed. A lot of confusion, as per usual, with his notes. This is not because of this witness. This is just a theme of the trial where we have evidence that's trying to be admitted, where one party doesn't have all of it, one party says they don't have all of it, where it's like the officer doesn't know where all of the notes came from, maybe, where the defense is trying to clarify if the SQ has radio logs or radio recordings of their communications during ground operations. Martel saying at one point that they would only have those probably if they were in the Quebec side. He does not know if they had them over here. And again, being the testimony being tightly gatekept, a word that the Justice Perkins McVeigh has used in the past to describe how she is exercising her trial control powers to make sure that things go efficiently and that the evidence is relevant, not hearsay. There has been a couple of objections today already from Greenspoon, from Magus. Every objection so far today upheld by the court on behalf of the defense to either re-clarify the way that the Crown was asking a question or something of that purpose and nature. So it's interesting to see that play out today. I don't know what the result of the legal arguments will be later on today, if we will get an answer on the outstanding Facebook question, if we'll find out which evidence is being carried over from the voir dire to the trial proper, if we'll find out about the admissions 2, aka 9 witnesses argument. We don't know about any of that. Apparently the signal chats that we've talked about quite extensively from the PLT teams and other officers, that has been disclosed by the Crown as of Friday, but there's still maybe some questions surrounding it. Apparently, defense saying they couldn't access some of the attachments or the links in those documents. And then the Crown has prepared what they call the pre-reviewed version of the text messages between, I guess, some people and other people, and whether that will be disclosed or to what capacity, who knows. Got to be very careful how we tread around all of this information. There is at least one publication ban currently, so must be extraordinarily careful when reporting any of these details. So far, though, I feel like I'm walking this line very, very well, and we'll continue to be cautious and careful going forward with that. Just something to keep in the back of our minds. But yeah, it just sounds like the defense wants more from the Crown as per usual, and they're saying the Crown isn't providing it in a timely manner, more or less, saying that Miss Meg saying that they received the second thing I mentioned there maybe today or early yesterday, and with not enough time to actually properly review it so that they can conduct and do what they need to do. As well, Magus again requesting an extended lunch today so she can get the material she needs to do her cross-examination of Captain Martel. and the evidence that he's trying to present to the court. We watched videos again. This was from the SQ perspective. We saw officers screaming at the crowds, move, move, move. We heard a couple chants of hold the line from the crowd, assumedly. We heard some, at times, inaudible police recordings. I think he was saying something in a very mechanical voice, leave or you'll be arrested. But at many times, even from the video on the police side, they're recording from their side where the recording is coming from, you can't even make out what it's saying. I think the Crown was actually asking at times, was there a message being played to the crowd, etc., to Mr. Martel, because he was involved in the police clearing operations on 18th and 19th, describing pressure put against them at Bank Street, at Wellington, saying he doesn't know the city very well, but they're talking about people going up on concrete barriers, and interestingly talking about how as they were moving forward, I guess down Wellington, there was a series of concrete barriers and a snow mountain that made moving difficult. So that's interesting that these concrete barriers testified by this SQ officer made the police advance difficult. Maybe it made the withdrawal of trucks difficult too. I can't help but wonder that as he's testifying this. We'll see how that goes later on. But it circles back to an argument made much earlier in these trials. So we finished 2 witnesses. We have 3 outstanding now, and I believe we'll get to the cross-examination of this witness fairly quickly. He's only, to my knowledge, relevant to the 18th and the 19th, and he's being very specifically gatekeeped onto what he's testifying about. Let me give you another example. At one point, at many points, the Crown is asking Captain Martel of the SQ to describe what he's seeing, and the defense is objecting, basically saying or raising the point that we can all see what he's seeing. There's no point in asking him what he's seeing. And at one point, the Crown asked him, "What is the reasoning or something along that lines for the officers of making these arrests or something?" And he said, "Well, that's you can't." The defense objected, saying you can't. That's an improper question. Even Greenspan jumped up, and the judge was like, "No, you can't ask that. Like, rephrase the question." So that's the kind of thing that we're hearing in court today, and I'll keep you updated throughout the day. I'm Patriot Smoothie from Ottawa. If you want to support our work, consider messaging me on my Facebook profile, Patriot Smoothie. Send me a message and I can send you my e-transfer address if you appreciate the reporting we're doing on X and these summary videos that we make for you every day of this trial. If you appreciate that, please feel free to support it. And as always, have an amazing day. I'll see you at the end of the day for the summary.